Hi, I'm Shira Carpel.
And I'm Shayna Gaunt, and we're board certified behavior analysts. At How to ABA, we provide practical resources, community, and support to ABA professionals. In each episode of our podcast, we will be having real conversations with real people, sharing real stories about ABA.
We'll share relevant strategies and actionable tips that will make us all better ABA practitioners. It's the ABA content you need that you're not going to learn in a textbook. Hi, everyone. Today, we are talking to Leticia Moreno, who is the Clinical Director and CEO of Within Me Therapy, located in Maryland. And we are very excited to hear from her. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for such the warm welcome.
So we'd love to hear a little bit about you and what you do and how you got to where you are, like the full story.
Sure. So I was a special education teacher before becoming a board certified behavior analyst, working really in early intervention and working with early learners. And my aunt, who is a social worker, was providing ABA therapy. And she pretty much was the one who introduced me to the field of ABA. And once I started in the field, I fell in love with ABA and continued to pursue my BCBA and so forth. So from there, I started working with different companies, but I really, truly loved working with the early learners. So I wanted to focus on that. So that's kind of what led me to start my own company, focusing on children between the ages of 1 and 5, and really blending the two, ABA strategies and early intervention, together. So Within Me Therapy, what we really focus on is helping those early learners, incorporating a lot of natural environment teaching within the strategies we use. And a lot of our clinicians are also have that background of early intervention and using things like the coaching model when doing parent training to really help our parents be able to continue that learning process outside of therapy sessions.
Your background sounds so similar to Shira's in the fact that you were a teacher first and then became a BCBA. There's probably so many things that you wish you knew going backwards, right? Like, oh, if only I knew that, if only I knew that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think having the background in teaching has definitely helped me as a BCBA. But I really like the aspect of being able to help the family as a whole. And that is the reason what kind of led me more towards ABA versus teaching. But I still love teaching and I still love working with children. So I was able to get a little bit of both.
Yeah, I love talking to, teachers turned BCBAs because that was my path as well. And I'm curious because I know why I, looked out and seeked out ABA because there were problems within my classroom that I really just couldn't solve. So was that the same case for you? And why were you looking for that other solution? Or was it just the next step for you? What were those problems that you were seeing as a teacher that you just couldn't solve?
So really and truly, I think the problems that I saw were problems that we weren't necessarily able to address in the classroom. So a lot of parents were having difficulty in the home. And so because we typically work in the classroom setting, the problems that were arising that would kind of would show in the classroom, parents were also dealing with at home. So for example, if we saw tantrums in the classroom, mom is also stressed and having difficulty with, managing those behaviors in the home. And I really wanted to be able to help those parents. And I think that's what really led me to, seek out more information on ABA, just because we're able to help clients in their natural setting versus just in that school setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would love to hear how you get parents to, be on board, because I know one of the challenges I have in a school is, we get the kids so far and we get their communication going and we get their toilet training going and we get all those skills going, and then they leave us, and parents just aren't always interested in taking over and doing the next step. So what has been something that works for you in terms of parent training? Like, do you go into the homes? What's your relationship like with the parents? How do you really get that buy-in?
Yeah, very great question. And it's definitely always going to be a work in progress when you're working with parents, just because just like children, every parent is different and how they learn is different. So we like to definitely take a collaborative approach when it comes to including parents in sessions. Early intervention is known for using like a coaching model where we're able to help parents by asking questions as we're teaching them to help them discover ways on what works best for their family. So instead of having a direct approach and saying like you need to do A, B, and C, you may ask it in a form of a question that allows them to come up with the solutions on their own that works best for families. So we find that helps, and also providing opportunities for us to model during our sessions and having the parent be able to practice, definitely providing reinforcement for our parents to help them continue to know and get reassurance that what they're doing is helping their child definitely helps as well. Just like we need reinforcement, our parents need to also know that what they're doing is helping their child.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's such varied levels of stress within the home, right? And, parents have such great meaning and such great intention to, yeah, no problem. Whatever you tell me, I'm going to follow through with, no problem. And then you dig a little bit deeper and you realize that parents are, dealing with this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And, what you're telling them is only like, a very, very small portion of their entire day, and they just can't handle everything.
Yeah, so that's very true that you mentioned that a lot of parents are dealing with some things that, whether it's anxiety and depression and other life factors that happen that we may not necessarily be able to always address, right? It may be out of our scope of practice. And so we do have a parent liaison on our team where she's able to provide resources to families where we may not necessarily be able to help them in certain areas, but because we really look at the whole family and we look at the whole picture, we have to at least be able to point them in the right direction for them to get those resources that will help their family.
Such a great idea. You also mentioned when we talked last time, you mentioned that you service underserviced populations. So what does that look like? And I guess the level of stress there would be astronomical, I'm sure.
Sure, absolutely. And that's where our parent liaison definitely comes in to be able to provide our families with those resources and information. We also work with a lot of children who are newly diagnosed. So we're able to provide them with, be a wealth of knowledge on what ABA is and disseminate ABA to people who may not know exactly what to expect of therapy. So, and we also have a high population of Spanish-speaking families as well. So making sure that when we are disseminating ABA, we're disseminating it in a way for everyone to understand in layman's terms, but also in their language. And so, for example, a lot of our RBTs speak Spanish, so they're able to really help the parents understand ABA as we're modeling it for them as well, but there's also opportunities for them to learn in their own language. So that's another way that we really kind of make sure that we're providing the therapy and providing the information in a way that is digestible for all.
That's phenomenal. I can't imagine, as a family coming in who speaks a different language, just knowing that there's someone else who understands them and is able to, communicate with effectively, not just, okay, let me get my, English translation out and get, every third word. That must be such a relief for parents.
Right. Absolutely. And then also, like you mentioned, when there's other stressors within the home that we may not be able to address, it's definitely something that we're mindful of. And so if a family is dealing with a situation where they may be evicted or, there's abuse in the home, just different stressors that may happen, we have to make sure that we're taking that into account when we are providing the therapy, because those situations may interfere. They may cause additional behaviors for children and things like that we have to make sure that we're considering what the family is going through and what's a priority for that family at that time.
And do you do staff coaching on that as well? Because that's definitely something that needs to be disseminated to all therapists as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's also what kind of sets us apart from other ABA companies, is that we're really collaborative and we're definitely very supportive. You know, when things are going on in cases, there's opportunities for us to, you know, use a huddle approach, come together, figure out what's going on with certain clients or any solutions that we need to come up with within our team, and really take that collaborative and supportive approach to be able to help our staff members. So even if they may not necessarily have dealt with certain situations before, they're able to come to our team or our admin team to really figure out what's a best solution. We also offer CEUs for our staff members too. So there's definitely learning opportunities, to help our clinicians continue to grow within the field.
Wow, it sounds like Within Me has a fantastic culture within your organization.
Yeah, we definitely look at not just helping our clients reach their full potential within, but also helping our clinicians reach their full potential within as well.
And I love what you said about learning to ask more questions, because I think that we sometimes can default to like, well, I have this agenda and I need this to get done, and I need the parent to like just do what I say,
Mm-hmm. I don't have time for this.
I love when the same way we teach our kids how to like problem solve, and we don't just give them all the answers and tell them what to do. We might say like, what do you think you should be doing right now? Or look around and what do you think the next step is? Right. I love that we can do that with our parents too, where it's about empowering them to ask the right questions and find the answers versus just getting, compliance. Which is a really great point. I'd also love to hear some tips you have on the natural environment teaching. I think that we have a lot of our audience who might struggle with like, what do I do with an early learner and how do I make the learning natural? Some of us are more comfortable with the old style table work or sitting in a chair, where natural environment teaching is a lot more dynamic and you need a lot more creativity. And that might be hard. So what are some of your tips for that?
Yeah, I would definitely say to make sure you are paired strong with that client first, because that really helps set you up for success for being able to teach in the natural environment. So sometimes we may feel like we're fully paired with the child because we're able to approach them and they see them smiling when when the therapist comes in for their session, but really actually making sure that you have that instructional control and that you're fully paired with that child. I definitely feel like you'll be set up for success for natural environment teaching. And then just really following that child's lead based on what those preferences are and what those reinforcers are for that child, to help that child be able to learn in the natural environment. I definitely feel are some great prerequisite things that need to kind of be in place in order to be successful with teaching in the natural environment.
Yeah, that's a great point. The relationship, both with the child and with the parents, I think are
Absolutely.
Really showing to be so important in what we do. And we don't get enough of that relationship building. We think more about the behaviors and the environment. But I think that's a really good point, is that you have to really invest in both relationships to be able to be successful. We also, a lot of our audience might be newly certified BCBAs or people who are just starting out their own company or just getting into the field. And what would be some advice that you would give someone who's just starting out and might feel a little overwhelmed? What is kind of the best thing that you can pass on?
Yeah, so I would definitely say to be mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts are the blueprint for your dreams. And so when you're thinking positive, when you have a positive mindset and you're grateful for even just where you are in life today, it will really help you be able to, manage what you need to do on a day-to-day to reach your goals and reach, what you aspire. So I would definitely say to just manage your thoughts, because there are stressful situations, whether you're running a company, you're studying to become a BCBA, you're managing your life. I'm a mother of 4 children. It's a lot to manage. And so just making sure that I'm mindful of what I'm thinking can definitely, help me make the right decisions, help me look at the different aspects of things, take a different perspective, and just have more of a positive approach to things versus, always thinking negative. So I think that is probably one tip I can provide.
I was totally expecting you to be like, read this book, or here's a good textbook. And like, you really went a whole different way with that.
I did. I
really
mean,
different.
If I was to provide, study materials, I would definitely, say the Cooper book. There are definitely great study guides out there, making sure that you take mock exams to really determine what areas are your strengths and what areas are your weaknesses. Teach it. If you're able to teach it, you're able to really understand it and retain that information. So I definitely, when I was studying, would lead study groups, and that really helped me to retain the information in order to be able to, pass the exam. Cool. So I give you a little bit of both.
I love that. I actually wrote that down, the thoughts of the blueprint of your life. I'm like, oh, I love that. I wrote that down.
Yeah, it really is. Your thoughts really help, you reach your goals. I think that when I look at where I am today, it was because I thought about it and I made a decision to work on those goals and put it into action.
Well, really, that's what ACT is, right? The ACT, acceptance and
Absolutely.
commitment therapy.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as BCBAs, I think we're starting to become more familiar with that, but we should be, because this is a big part of like what controls our behavior, right? And it's our private events, and it's all of our, emotions and thoughts and feelings, and they do have control over our behavior.
Shira, it's not observable and measurable.
I don't know. Some might say that it is.
Right. Having that psychological flexibility really helps you keep that, positive mindset and knowing exactly what, you're going through in that moment within today. And that also helps with parent collaboration, because we're focusing on what the parent can do today in that moment to help their child versus, I know that I've got this going on and that going on, and I can't do this and I can't do that. So instead of having that negative mindset, let's focus on what you can do right now in this moment to help your child be successful.
I love that. That. Is there one lesson, if you had to say, okay, one lesson that your job has taught you that you think everybody should know? Would that be it? Or is there something else?
Yeah, I would definitely say that would be it, to just have that positive mindset, be grateful for what you have in that moment. But to add to that, I think one tip or one, I guess you can say one productivity hack to really help you reach your goals is I focus on the top 3 method, where I may have 25 things to do within my day, just because I, am in a director or a clinical role, a leadership role where I have a lot to focus on. I'm also a parent, and, that comes with another job, a whole nother full-time job. Yeah. And so being able to manage everything, I focus on just my top 3. So that way I almost have tunnel vision to make sure that I can at least get my top 3 things for that day done to help me obtain or reach my, overall big goal. So I think that's definitely something.
Really practical, because I think we all have the to-do list and we get overwhelmed and we're all busy, and like you said, being a business owner and a clinical director and a mom and all the other roles that we all play. then being able to prioritize. But I think they go hand in hand, because in order to be able to pick those top 3, you have to have the direction, right? You have to have that goal, and you have to be aware of, like you said earlier, where you're going and what your direction is. And then you can pick your top 3 because you want them to be moving you in that direction. So It does kind of go together in that what you're thinking about and where you want to be is going to be reflected in what your priorities are. So that's some really good advice.
Yeah. I love that. We were laughing before, for those people who didn't see me, we were laughing before because I just held up my 6 pages of my to-do list. That's all chicken scratch on a piece of paper. And it's ridiculous, right? Things come at you in all different directions. So
I like to see that you still write it though, because I also am big on like writing. I have journals and things like that.
I was going to ask, is it a written to-do list? Is it a list in your head?
So it's a bit of both. I do have I use my note section on my phone and Apple devices. So I do write them down. But I also like to, actually physically write things out as well. So I may put my top 3 for the day on a whiteboard or on my journal next to me and know that I can, because I like crossing things out. I like that satisfaction of getting things done and crossed off on my list. So writing it out, I can do that. So.
Yeah, I've tried so many different apps. I've tried, reminders that pop up. I've tried a whole bunch of different electronic things, and nothing beats the whole paper and pencil, because it's there visually and it's always there. I've even tried stickies on my computer screen. And then after a while, they just become like one more thing on my computer screen. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not even paying attention to it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my paper and pencil notes work every time.
Yeah.
We can talk about to-do lists forever.
I know.
Seriously, right? How do you manage your busy schedule? How do you manage? I guess just as some last words, we really appreciate all that you've shared with us. But like, what do you want to share as a next step for you? What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
Yeah. So what we're really excited about is Within Me Therapy is opening up a clinic in Lanner, Maryland, to be able to expand the services we provide. So right now we really focus on in-home and in the community. We're in a lot of daycares and schools and things like that. But now we're able to really help our children in a more controlled setting, provide opportunities for social skills groups and things like that, natural environment teaching still, but within a controlled setting. So we're really excited to be able to expand our services. We're also continuing to hone in on our parent collaboration and providing opportunities for parents to utilize our team for all of the resources that we are able to provide, and also to provide networking and continue to build our community, and just expanding within the DMV area.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. I'm sure with the way you approach things, that there's a big need that you're filling, and that I'm sure the parents are happy to have you and your support. So really good luck. We hope it goes well, and we hope you let us know how it's going.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. And for those people listening, if you are in the Maryland area, they can look you up, right? How do they look you up?
So you can go to our website, withinmetherapy.com, and reach out to us that way. We are also on Instagram, withinmetherapy.com, Within Me Therapy as well, and Facebook, Within Me Therapy.
Amazing. And that'll be posted in the show notes too. So Leticia, thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Well, thank you guys both for the opportunity.
Thanks for joining today's conversation. Wherever you get your podcast, please go and subscribe, rate, and review so others can find out about us too.
For more from How to ABA, including free resources and ABA materials, visit our blog at howtoaba.com. And make sure that you're following us on social media for more practical tips and updates.